Members targeted by the man.
The police chief says these people are bitter about the ease at which Westbecker was able to obtain an assault weapon. And as they head home, he says their feelings are not much different than they were 12 days ago.
They're still somewhat numb, they're concerned, they're pulling together as a group, I think, over their mutual losses.
Although no families wish to discuss this meeting, Dotson says he believes it helped them because they had the chance to interact with others in the same situation.
But they will have more questions.
Right. The chief says some of the answers that they got tonight only raise more questions that they'll have down the road.
Thank you, John. Well, Chief Dotson says another major concern at tonight's meeting was a photograph on the front page of the Courier-Journal the day after the tragedy. That picture has prompted a lawsuit by one of the victims' families. The picture showed the body of a man sprawled on a conveyor belt. He had been killed by Joseph Westbecker. His family says the photograph should never have been published and that it caused them a lot of additional pain. The suit charges the newspaper with extreme and outrageous conduct. The newspaper editor claims the paper was trying to accurately depict the horror of the shooting.
The outpouring of support in the wake of the Standard-Gravure shooting has been overwhelming. So far, $26,000 has been raised to help the families of those killed or injured in the tragedy. If you would like to donate, you can send money to this address: Standard-Gravure Fund, P.O. Box 94191, Louisville. The zip code is 40294. Donations can also be made at any branch of Liberty National Bank.
Louisville's Board of Aldermen is recognizing the outstanding involvement of the community in the wake of the Standard-Gravure tragedy. Tonight, the board unanimously accepted a resolution thanking everyone involved, from the emergency crews and police to the citizens who gave their blood and their prayers.
From the legislative standpoint,
I think that the city has much to be proud of in the way everybody reacted to that situation.
The board is also considering a resolution that would appropriate $150,000 to the police department for the purchase of semi-automatic handguns. Several aldermen commented that the police are often underarmed and current equipment is outdated.
A federal labor attorney is going to court on behalf of the miners involved in the fatal explosion in western Kentucky 2 weeks ago. 10 miners were killed in that explosion. Federal law gives miners the right to designate a representative to participate in the accident investigation. But officials with Pyro Mine, which owns the Wheatcroft facility, refused to allow such a representative into the mine. Until the lawsuit is resolved, the labor attorney will interview witnesses as part of the federal probe into the accident. A miner is buried alive in Pike County tonight. Officials say the accident happened at the More and More Mining Company in the Marrowbone area of Pike County. Sheriff's Department officials say only one miner is trapped and that he's still alive. Rescue efforts are now underway.
Although it may seem like the lives of those affected by the Carroll County bus crash are back on course, there isn't a day that passes that wives, children, and fellow church members don't remember their loss. Tonight, a special dedication at the Assembly of God Church in Radcliffe helped one family keep the spirit of Chuckita alive.
It's been almost a year and a half since that fateful night on Interstate 71. 27 people died in the church bus crash. Chuckita, a youth and music director, was sitting near the front of the bus. He probably died quickly. In death, Chuckita's memory is living on through youth ministries and education. An additional school building at Dove Academy now bears his name. On hand to dedicate his building were Chuckita's son, daughter, and wife.
I think it was part of Chuck's ideology. It's really not a building dedicated to him as a person, but to his belief that the youth are probably one of the most important areas of the church and of our lives. And that was probably brought more joy to him than anything he ever done before.
The new building is identical to the school building dedicated to the church bus driver, John Pearman. It was needed because of an increase in students here at the Dove Academy. Attendance has jumped from 167 to 237 in just 1 year. Chuckita Hall was built in 60 short days, just in time for the school year. What's probably most pleasing to those who knew him is the school building will house the youngsters.
Chuck loved young people, and I think that that this is fitting, you know, that a name school building be named after him. I think it's really something that Chuck would like to have seen.
And we thank God for...
As Pastor Tennyson told the group gathered for the dedication, we're not in the business of building buildings, but of building youth, and Chuckita would be proud. Sandra Hughes, Channel 32 News, Radcliffe.
The woman wounded in a weekend hostage siege in Louisville spoke from her hospital room today. Rhonda Hall was shot in the arm as Kelvin Richardson came into her West End home with a .357 Magnum pistol. Hall was let go a short time later, but Richardson held her sister for 23 hours before police stormed the house.
And she did make it out, you know, safe, and I am glad of that, you know, and I'm glad they got him. I just, you know, I want him to pay dearly for what he's done and all the pain that he has caused me and my family.
Darlene Hall, who Richardson held at gunpoint overnight, suffered no physical injuries. Kentucky has had its share of hostage situations lately. 2 weeks ago, a southern Indiana boy was held hostage in a Cave City motel. Last week, a Jackson County high school student held his classmates at gunpoint. And this weekend, Kelvin Richardson took his hostages in the West End. On tonight's telepoll, we asked, do you think media coverage of hostage situations encourages people to do the same thing? 64% of our random phone survey say yes, 32% say no, and 4% didn't care to comment.
Television coverage is exactly what an Elizabethtown couple want. In fact, not only will Sandy and Walter Meredith appear on a syndicated talk show this week, they may also sell their story for a movie and a book. The Merediths were facing 120 years in jail for using a 15-year-old in hopes of conceiving a child. But today, 5 of the 6 charges against each of them were dropped because the court found that the teenage boy was a willing participant. Mr. Meredith still faces 1 felony charge. The judge recommended 1 year in jail plus probation. Mrs. Meredith was given 2 years probation on a misdemeanor charge. Governor Wilkinson meets with President Bush and governors from other states this week for an education summit. While Wilkinson believes most of the businesses of education should be left up to the states, the governor says the federal government is responsible for making sure states are equally funded. Beyond that, Wilkinson says President Bush should solve the problem of drugs in schools, bring technology into the classroom, create a national plan for training and retraining social school workers, increase support for preschool programs, coordinate child care and early education programs, and fund research into the process of education. What does the governor think of Kentucky's own education reform process? He says he's disappointed at the pace, but says no one is to blame for that.
Governor Wilkinson's concern over drugs in schools is being echoed by the National Parents Resource Institute on Drug Education. The group's latest study found the percentage of kids using drugs is dropping, but those who use cocaine are getting more intoxicated by the drug. The survey of almost 400,000 junior high and high school students revealed the casual user is more careful and more frightened of drugs. However, the study also found weekly cocaine use is beginning in students as young as 6th grade. There's a new snag in efforts to hammer out a new federal anti-drug policy. Yesterday, Senate Democrats and the White House agreed to add $900 million to President Bush's $7.9 billion proposal. But now Senate Republicans say they want a Democratic guarantee. They'll vote on Bush's anti-crime package before signing off on the overall anti-drug plan.
Samuel Pierce, the former HUD secretary, is being nicknamed Silent Sam. The former Reagan cabinet member appeared under a subpoena today before a House subcommittee investigating alleged fraud and mismanagement during Pierce's tenure. But the former head of Housing and Urban Development took the fifth, his right against self-incrimination. He charges that members of the panel are already biased against him. Pierce's attorney says he may be ready to testify next month. Meanwhile, at the United Nations, the Soviets are giving a thumbs up to President Bush's suggestion to cut back on chemical weapons, and they're going one step further. Foreign Minister Shevardnadze spoke to the UN today, offering not only to match U.S. reductions, but also suggesting a total ban on chemical weapons and a mutual agreement to stop nuclear testing. The White House welcomed the Soviet proposal, saying the two sides are on the same wavelength.
Still to come on Channel 32 News, Kentuckiana reaches out to help those affected by Hurricane Hugo.
We'll meet a survivor of the killer storm and see what kind of weather we have in store right after this.
For Kentuckiana's weather forecast anytime, call the 32 WLKY Weather Center at 585-1212. For the most comprehensive look at the weather, stay tuned. Wayne Hart's AMS certified forecast is coming up.
At first glance, most people don't see much difference between a two-wheel drive Nissan Hardbody, a Ford Ranger, and a Chevy S10. But the truth is, the Hardbody has more horsepower, a bigger cab, a bigger bed, and a bigger payload. In fact, the only place you won't find a big difference is the price. Try one on for size at your Nissan dealer now. He's ready to pass along factory-to-dealer cash incentives that could save you hundreds.
Some airlines do a lot of business in this country. Some do a lot overseas. I know. I practically live on planes. Fortunately, there is an airline that's equally at home both here and abroad.
The TWA network covers over 150 cities in 18 countries, including over 125 cities in the U.S. alone.
When you do business all over, you need an airline that flies there.
Today's TWA. Find out how good we really are.
Hello, I'm Andy Glogauer, chairman of NBA Group, and this is Sturtevant Life Insurance Company in North Carolina. For decades, Sturtevant Life has provided security and peace of mind for thousands of individuals. NBA Group is proud to have been selected to provide the Sturtevant Life employees with their group medical plan. Sturtevant Life, NBA Group, providing security and peace of mind.
Tonight's news is brought to you by Bacon's, Kentucky's first department store, a tradition for 144 years.
It's finally here, the new Bacon store for the home, a sensational shopping experience with just about everything for the home under one roof. Celebrate our grand opening with big savings. Our savings on Century will allow you to save throughout the home. Get 30% off suggested retail prices on our entire stock, including bedrooms, dining rooms, upholstery, and occasional tables. Celebrate and save during our grand opening. The new Bacon store for the home in St. Matthews.
Can't say anything bad about the weather, that's
right.
for sure.
Another beautiful day, and when it's this nice, you don't mind getting out and doing a little yard work.
That's right.
Have you cut your lawn, Liz? Is it...
No, it could use it.
Okay.
You know, grass doesn't grow too fast.
Yeah, this time
right
of the year, it's beginning to slow down. I was out this morning cutting the lawn, and it's a pleasure to be out.
Pretty soon we'll be out raking leaves.
That's right, and then
not so
shoveling
much
snow
fun.
eventually, but that's still several months down the line. But before we start talking about the nice weather we are going to experience for the rest of the week, let's check in on the latest drought situation across the Midwest. And as you can see in the Ohio Valley and in the east, it's looking pretty good right now. As a matter of fact, in the local area, southern and central Indiana are checking in on the moist side, while Kentucky is looking pretty normal for this time of year. The drought is easing across the upper Mississippi Valley and northern plains, with still a few pockets of extreme drought across northeastern Iowa, northern Michigan, and portions of North Dakota, but it's a much better situation than what it was last year at this time. And it's cooling off once again, and another beautiful sunset across the western sky this evening. Our tower cam caught the colors for you earlier. And our current temperature has dropped to a cool 53 degrees, a relative humidity 64%, a northeast wind is at 4 miles per hour, and the pressure is 30.3 and rising. Our high today, 70 on the dot at 3 o'clock, our morning low, 50 on the dot at 6:30. No rain today, air quality was good, and sunrise tomorrow morning will occur at 7:35, sun setting tomorrow evening at 7:33. Well, we are enjoying crystal clear skies this evening, but that is sending the thermometer down. It looks like we're going to wind up close to the 40-degree mark here in the Louisville area by tomorrow morning, upper 30s to the north and lower 40s to the south. My observations from our weather watchers shows that variation in temperature across the area. Checked in with them about 10 minutes ago, and up in New Farmington, Edith Carter was recording a temperature of 48 degrees. The east steps over in New Albany, 53, and Helen Grebe down in Elizabethtown, 57 degrees. And it looks like we're in good shape for the next several days. First of all, here's the cool front that came through around 6 o'clock this morning. That swept all the cloudiness out of here and also reinforced the cool, comfortable air that we have in here. Now, our next weather maker is high pressure, which is over the upper Michigan Peninsula. It's going to take its good old time moving to the southeast. It's going to wind up over the Maryland Panhandle by sometime Thursday morning. That means lots of sunshine for us tomorrow, Thursday, and probably Friday also, with very pleasant temperatures. We're looking at highs in the upper 60s tomorrow, mid-70s on Thursday, and upper 70s on Friday. And we'll probably get back into the lower 80s by the time the weekend rolls around, but still no big storm system to threaten our weather, because out west things are still pretty quiet. It's going to take several days before we get any inclement weather back into Kentuckiana. Okay, here's the forecast for overnight clear. We're going to call it cold. Upper 30s to the north, lower 40s to the south tonight. And then for tomorrow, another nice one. Sunny and pleasant, a high of 65 to 70. For Thursday, we pick up a few clouds, but still a nice day with a pleasant high warming into the middle 70s. And for Friday, mostly sunny and continued pleasant, a high of 75 to 80 degrees. So this week is turning out to be a much nicer week in the Weather Center. Very quiet, and I'll take it that way anytime.
Yeah, how about that? Thanks, Wayne.
Cleanup work continues in areas hard hit by Hurricane Hugo, so the Salvation Army in Louisville is setting up 2 collection centers to help the victims of the hurricane. Damage in Charleston, South Carolina alone is estimated at $3 billion. Residents there are having trouble getting food and supplies, and the help they need is the form of food and bottled water.
Well, we're asking them to supply us with water, with canned goods, with baby diapers, baby formulars, blankets, quilts, these kind of items.
HIPS says clothing is not needed. The 2 collection centers are at 823 Brook Street and the 7800 block of Dixie Highway.
When we come back, 2 Americans murdered in the Philippines.
And drug traffickers in Colombia keep their promise and bomb a Hilton hotel. Those stories and more next.
You're watching Channel 32 News. Judge best TV news broadcast in the state of Kentucky at the Associated Press Broadcast Competition. More news coming up.
This is probably the best time of the past 5 years to buy a new car.
It's hit the newsstands. Clearance 89 is the real thing. With GM's Big Easy Closeout Sale, your Kentuckiana Chevy dealers can save you real dollars on a new car or truck. Save thousands on S10 pickups, S10 Blazers, and full-size trucks. Over 3,000 of your neighbors here in Kentuckiana have already saved thousands, and so can you.
This is the best time to buy a new Chevy.
See you before September 27th at your hometown Kentuckiana Chevy dealer.
Including Donahue, Farrell, and Hodgenville, Wilson and Bardstown, Philly, Tingle, and Springfield, Alex, Montgomery, and Campbell.
This kid can't hit. 2 outs, 2 strikes. What am I gonna do? Rainbow bread. Because rainbow's the bread of iron kids. You can do it. What got into that kid?
Cholesterol-free rainbow bread, the bread of iron kids.
When personal problems get so intense you feel like exploding, you can reach for a drink. Tranquilizers, drugs, and worse. Or you can reach for the phone and call the Peace Counseling Referral Center at Our Lady of Peace Hospital. Someone who understands your problem is there to help you 24 hours a day. Don't wait until it's too late. Peace is just a phone call away.
It don't take many pesos at Taco Bell. It wakes up your mouth, you know. It don't take many pesos at Taco Bell. So come on, amigo, let's go. Yeah.
Taco Bell's original tacos are just 49 cents. Fresh and delicious. Great tasting fast food shouldn't cost more than 49 cents.
Run, run, run for the border. Domino's, Domino's. Run, run, run for the border.
A first-hand look at anti-American sentiment, that's what Vice President Dan Quayle got today in the Philippines. Shortly before Quayle arrived in Manila, 2 Americans were shot to death in their car. Police say the gunmen are thought to be communist rebels. The Americans work near Clark Air Base. That's where Quayle was headed to discuss extending U.S. leases for Clark and other U.S. bases in the Philippines. The Colombian resort of Cartagena is under tight military security tonight after 2 people died and 1 was injured in a bombing at a Hilton hotel. Residents say hundreds of tourists are jamming the city's small airport looking for flights out. No one has claimed responsibility for the bombings. The drug traffickers have said they would retaliate with force for the government's crackdown on drugs.
The bomb that killed 171 people on board a French airliner last week is being linked to the bombing of Pan Am Flight 103 over Lockerbie, Scotland in December. 2 French newspapers say investigators think they have found traces of a plastic explosive in the wreckage of the UTA flight that blew apart over Niger. The reported explosive is the same type believed to have downed the Pan Am jet. It's also believed the French bomb was concealed in a portable radio like the Lockerbie bomb. Meanwhile, FAA officials continue their investigation of the crash of U.S. Air Flight 5050, which killed 2 people last week. Prosecutors in New York say urine samples taken 2 days after the crash show no signs that the pilot or co-pilot had used drugs or alcohol. Criminal charges can still be filed against the pair if negligence is proven. Investigators are still searching through the wreckage to see if any mechanical problem caused the pilot to abort the takeoff.
Coming up next in sports, what's Jody Mudd say about the success of the area's pros? Fred's next.
And could the Cubs clinch? Find out next on Channel 32 Sports.
This is probably the best time of the past 5 years to buy a new car.
It's hit the newsstands. Clearance 89 is the real thing. With GM's Big Easy Closeout Sale, your Kentuckiana Chevy dealers can save you real dollars on a new car or truck. Save thousands on S10 pickups, S10 Blazers, and full-size trucks. Over 3,000 of your neighbors here in Kentuckiana have already saved thousands, and so can you.
This is the best time to buy a new Chevy.
See you before September 27th at your hometown Kentuckiana Chevy dealer.
Including Herb Jones in Elizabethtown, Tom Linker in Radcliffe, Haynes in Hardinsburg, Wheatley in Brandenburg.
We could have been satisfied being the home of the chimichanga. After all, a chimichanga is the Chi-Chi's celebration, all wrapped up in a tortilla. But hearing you say wow wasn't enough. So we created the Cowabunga Chimichanga Special. It's our famous chimichanga plus cheese, nachos, and sopapillas, all for $6.95. Wow, you say? No, Cowabunga.
Chi-Chi, Chi-Chi, a celebration of food.
You know, you don't have to spend a fortune to make a great meal. The trick is, don't just shop for price, shop for value. And here are some great values from Winn-Dixie.
Enjoy tender, delicious steaks when you buy a U.S. Choice whole New York strip, only $1.98 a pound. Chiquita Golden Ripe bananas are priced low at 3 pounds for $1. And Kraft Miracle Whip salad dressing is 88 cents with a newspaper coupon at Winn-Dixie, America's supermarket.
A smile can light the darkness. A helping hand can show the way.
I'm Carol Simpson, ABC News. It's been said there's a new spirit of caring in this country. Meet some people from your community who have had that spirit for a long time. Join Channel 32 News anchor Liz Everman and me for the 12th Annual Bell Awards. It's a feeling we all share.
Wednesday night at 8 on 32.
The Kentucky Industrial Show fills the Commonwealth Convention Center for 2 days, September 26th and 27th, with thousands of product lines on display.
It's been a great year so far for Cubs fans. Are they celebrating tonight?
It's nice to see an underdog do it.
That's right.
I'm giving it away, but it's too good to not give away. Hello again, everybody. The Cubs may be the living, breathing definition of potential unfulfilled, but this Tuesday night they had the chance to bury their past by clinching the National League East title. This is the way it looks. Chicago was in its darker road tops of Montreal, where they were tied at 2 till the 8th. That's when Dwight Smith's RBI single scored Ryan Sandberg with a go-ahead run, 3-2 Cubs. Then it was Harry Carey calling the final out in a try at winning their first World Series since 1908.
1 ball, 2 strikes. The pitch. Hey, Cubs win the division. Cubs win the division. Cubs win the division. Fitzgerald is out on strike. Look at that scene on the field.
Greg Maddox, the man who won number 19 tonight. And how did that feel to you? Winning? The whole thing. Good. I mean, it's good. I think we accomplished something that I don't think many people thought we were going to accomplish. And I'm pretty much proud to be a part of it.
Didn't Harry look great drinking champagne? The Cubs clinching was set up by second-place St. Louis's loss. West leader San Francisco can clinch with a win tonight or a Padres loss. American League, East leading Toronto was in its darker road tops of Detroit and up by 2 in the 9th when the Tigers came back to steal it. Alan Trammell's RBI single put Detroit over Toronto 4-3, putting the Blue Jays in danger of falling into a tie with the Orioles. Meantime, Baltimore was in its darker road tops at Pittsburgh, or check that, at Milwaukee rather, trying to take advantage, but the Brewers' Gary Sheffield nuked the O's. Milwaukee leads 7-3 in the 9th inning. If that score holds, the lead for Toronto goes back to 1 game over the Orioles. The scoreboard tonight in the West. The A's lead, and they are scoreless now in the 3rd inning with Texas. The A's trying to get a step closer to clinching their 2nd straight American League West title, while second place Kansas City and California, they are playing in the 1st inning. The loser of that game will be eliminated from the West race. Las Vegas odds makers must know a ton about U of L's Jeff Brown because they've made the Cardinals 14-point favorites over Cincinnati here Saturday, despite the freshman starting in the place of injured Browning Nagel. Jeff's made an amazing adjustment just 4 months after graduating from Trinity as Mr. Kentucky football. He's jumped from last on the depth chart to number 1 and looks surprisingly mature in the last couple of minutes against West Virginia last week.
I'm really excited about it. You know, it's a great opportunity to, your first collegiate start, to go out there and show what you can do and hopefully lead them on to a big win. And it's one thing, I'd like to do.
Former U of L center Purvis Ellison heads for surgery tomorrow morning in Sacramento for bone spurs in his right foot and ankle. He got them after being hurt in a pickup game here. It doesn't figure to be serious, and the Kings still plan on making the NBA's top overall draft pick a deal worth over $10 million. Meantime, ex-teammate Kenny Payne signing a multi-million-dollar deal as the 19th pick overall of Philadelphia. And the Kentucky State Soccer Tournament returns to Louisville's Eastern High School this coming fall in November, in fact, after being in Lexington the past couple years. And because of time limitations, we didn't get a chance to mention Butler High grad Jody Mudd's appearance Monday at the Senior Citizens East golf tournament at Hurstburn Country Club. He helped that organization raise a bunch of money in a worthy cause. We talked with Jody about the success of Louisville area's tour pros lately, including Ballard grad Ted Schultz, who won the Southern Open on Sunday, and former U.S. Open and Masters champ Buzzy Zeller of New Albany.
What's great to see, Ted has made so much progress in the last 2 or 3 years. It's tremendous. And I'm just pleased to be a part of it. You know, not that I'm trying to lead the way, but Fuzzy's kind of set an example. We've all tried to follow in Fuzzy's footsteps a little bit. He's kind of kept the winning tradition around here, and although he calls New Albany home, but most people in Louisville still, you know, say he's a hometown favorite.
A classy bunch of guys, and that's that they represent Louisville.
Fred, it was a whisper. Did Harry Carey say the Cubs won the division?
Cubs win!
Yeah, right.
How did you catch that? Very, very good. Very perceptive of you ladies, yes.
Well, still ahead on the late report, arts and crafts by the young at heart. That's next.
Waiter, is the official forward clearance about to end?
Oui, monsieur.
If we want 2-9 financing or cash back, we've got to act fast. Why don't we start with the cash back, order the option package discount, and top it off with the tasty clearance deal? Shall we go with the Escort?
Okay.
Right now, buy a Ford Escort and get the lowest financing of the year, 2.9%, or Escort's highest savings of the year, over $1,800. But hurry, the official Ford clearance ends soon. Where quality is standard, your Ford dealer.
As you can see, the house is completely renovated with the very best heating and cooling system.
Must be a Lennox.
Must be dealin' days. Financing rebates the industry's quality standard. Must be a Lennox.
Have you ever awakened to a cold home? Pre-season maintenance can prevent a rude awakening with no heat.
For peace of mind and professional service, please call us at Glands Plumbing, Heating, and Cooling for all of your service needs.
Glands, your service people for over 60 years.
Attaboy, Dave.
We're gonna bring on the beef, spread on the cheddar. McDonald's cheddar melt. First we bring on the beef, spread on the cheddar. Bold and saucy, much better now. Grill up the onion, stack it on a rye bun. Cheddar melt. For a limited time, so come on, all together say. Bring on the beef, spread on the cheddar. Cheddar melt. For a limited time.
Comparing the Nissan Sentra to the Toyota Corolla raises some interesting differences. The Sentra has more room. It has a bigger engine, more standard features, and it's sticker priced about $400 less. Looks like this comparison is a dead issue. The Nissan Sentra. See your Nissan dealer now to get factory dealer cash incentives that could save you hundreds.
On Inside Edition, Brian is paralyzed as a result of a medical foul-up. He is now penniless, but with a little help from his friends like Cher and attorney Melvin Belli, he gets by.
Tonight, following Channel 32 News at 11.
What do you have when you get a group of 200 homemakers together under one roof? Besides a lot of talking, you have the Jefferson County Extension's Homemakers Fall Festival. 25 homemaker clubs showed off the types of arts and crafts made by their members.
This is the first year really that we've had it as a fundraiser. It's usually just a thing to show the women of the community what can be done in homemakers and the type of things we do. This year we decided to go ahead and sell the items that they're making because we needed money in our treasuries for the charitable work that we do.
Each club donates the proceeds to a charity of their own choosing.
Coming up tomorrow at 6, who's making the grade at area schools? We'll see who wins Assumption and St. X's Awards of Excellence.
And speaking of awards, I'll take you live to the Galt House, where we'll be gearing up for tomorrow night's Bell Awards. Our guest speaker this year, ABC's Carol Simpson.
It will be a fun night.
I hope so. 8 to 9 tomorrow night.
Thanks for joining us. We'll see you tomorrow night at 6.
Good night, everybody.
morning. I was remarking one day how glad I was that God didn't remember my sins. My father was sitting in his chair smoking his pipe when he casually replied, "You know, God can't really forget your sins." Now, I knew my dad believed in God, and so I knew he wasn't denying God's forgiveness. After thinking it over a bit, I said, "If you mean that since God is all-knowing and ever-present, then yesterday, today, and tomorrow is all the same to him. And if that's the case, then no, I guess he can't really forget our sins. But since we can't understand unconditional forgiveness and love, saying God forgets our sins is the only way that we can understand total forgiveness." My dad smiled, nodded his head, and put his pipe back in his mouth. Psalm 103:11 and 12 says, "For as high as the heavens are above the earth, so great is his love for those who fear him. And as far as the east is from the west, so far has he removed our sins from us." And Jeremiah says, "I'll forgive their wickedness and remember their sins no more." Even when we forgive others, we still remember the offense. But God's forgiveness is completely unconditional. He harbors no ill will or secret vengeance. When we ask for and accept God's forgiveness, we're completely forgiven. We're usually the ones who bring up our old sins, not God. If you're feeling guilty over old sins, ask God's forgiveness today and accept it. He won't remember those old sins. God really does forgive and forget.
This time of prayer and reflection is brought to you by your neighbors at the Southern Baptist Theological Seminary.
WLKY-TV now concludes today's telecasting service, having provided the finest ABC network, as well as local news, information, and entertainment programming to Kentuckiana. WLKY-TV operates Channel 32 by authority of the Federal Communications Commission and is owned and operated by the Pulitzer Broadcasting Company of St. Louis, Missouri, telecasting 4,300,000 watts of effective radiated power from the transmitter located at Floyd Knobs, Indiana. The offices and studios of WLKY-TV are located at 1918 Melwood Avenue, Louisville, Kentucky. We invite you to join us in the morning as we resume our regular telecasting schedule. Until then, the management and staff of WLKY-TV wishes you a very pleasant good night. Channel 32, WLKY-TV, Louisville.